been keeping myself so busy, pushing out the misery, trying to find the peace in me. I wanna be, I wanna find myself, but again, it's always a phase. I wanted to stay, no you don't understand. I've been losing myself, I've been losing myself. I've been keeping myself so busy, pushing out the misery, trying to find the peace in me. I wanna be, I wanna find myself, but again, it's always a phase. I wanted to stay, no you don't understand. I've been losing myself, I've been losing myself. I've been keeping myself so busy, pushing out the misery, trying to find the peace in me. I wanna be, I wanna find myself, but again, it's always a phase. I wanted to stay, no you don't understand. I've been losing myself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JD Moon, and I'm coming at you guys with another DK build video. This is going to be for my stamina DK. The fridge. This will be the fridge build for the Dragon Hold patch. So this is what I've been 1vxing with, what I've been streaming with lately, and having a lot of fun with, even in group play. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into sets. Also, we're going to dive into stats, skills, and CP. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Alright, so the sets that I'm running, of course, Blood Spawn. This is going to be heavy with a tri-stat glyph on it. Of course, I'm sure everybody in here knows what Blood Spawn does, but for those of you who are tuning into the channel or who may be new to the game, who aren't fully aware of what Blood Spawn does, the one item set gives 129 stamina recovery. The 2 item set, when you take damage, you have a 6% chance of generating 14 ultimate and increase your physical and spell resistance by 6450 for 6 seconds, and this effect can happen every 6 seconds. So basically, it is the go-to for DK. It's going to give you everything you need, tankiness and recovery. If you want more damage, I don't really know of too many sets I would run for more damage. Possibly Slime Crawl or maybe even Kina, especially Kina in the next patch, because they will be buffing it by reducing the cost increased on Kina, which might make it usable for stamina DK. Okay, so let's dive into sets. So I'm running a Blessed Cuirass chest. This is Meridia's Blessed. I'm also running Meridia's Blessed legs, and also Sabatons. So yeah, Greaves and Sabatons. All three of these are going to have Tri-Stat Glyph on them, as well as, for those of you who don't know what it does, go ahead and dive into it. The 2-piece set gives 1487 armor. 3-piece gives 129 stamina recovery. 4-piece is another 1487 armor. And then the 5-piece, when you block, you have a 33% chance to blind the attacker, causing them to miss all of their attacks for 5 seconds. This effect can occur every 10 seconds. So this is why we're only utilizing this setup on the back bar. Because one, what we're going to do is by using it on the back bar, it's going to allow us to decide when we want to proc the set. And it's also going to keep us from having a wasted slot for 5 seconds on the downtime. So now the 5-piece set that I'm wearing up at all times is going to be New Moon Acolyte. If you want to gold out these rings, you definitely can. I just personally don't think they're worth the gold. But for those of you who don't know what New Moon does, 2-piece is going to be 813 weapon critical and spell critical. 3-piece is going to be 126 weapon and spell damage. 4-piece is going to be 1453 physical and spell penetration. And then the 5-piece set is going to give us 470 weapon and spell damage. Now on my front bar, let me take a drink here. On my front bar, what I'm going to be running is I am running the Asylum Greatsword. Ideally, you would want a maul, but running either a Greatsword, an axe, I wouldn't suggest them right now in the patch because they're not successfully applying the bleed as it should, so I wouldn't suggest using them currently. But next patch, you should be able to use them. They should be fine. But so we are running Sharpen, so that way we can get some of that penetration that we're missing by not running a maul. But for those of you who don't know what this does, when you deal damage with Reverse Slice, you generate up to 14 ultimate based on how much the execute bonus damage is dealt. So that is going to be based off of, when we're looking at the execute here. So the percentage, or I'm sorry, the damage that you're dealing for the bonus. So the base damage is going to be 48, 42. But now it deals up to 400% more damage based on their health. So the more bonus damage we're doing, the more ultimate generation that we're going to be getting. This is really, really strong in both group play and 1vx. I feel it's extremely important 1vx because it's going to allow us to keep that Dragon Leap up, or if you're using Dawnbreaker, Berserker Strike, whatever you're using, it's going to allow you to keep that up and utilize that ultimate more often to take out those multiple targets quicker than what you would be able to do previously. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to gear real quick. I am running all 3 infused jewelry traits. Okay, all of these are weapon damage. Some of you might not be able to sustain this. I personally don't have a problem with it. But then again, I heavy attack weave all the time, and I also use ultimates on cooldown most of the time. But I'm also chugging a specific type of pot. Before we get into my pots, let's go ahead and talk about what poisons I'm using. So I'm running double dot poisons on the front bar because that's the one I'm proccing all the time, and I'm using drain health poisons on the back bar, which is going to give us a dot, but it's also going to heal us. So it's more of like a defensive poison, and that's going to be also utilized on our defensive ability that we're running on the back bar for our AoE damage reduction coming in. Okay, so before we dive into skills, let's go ahead and take a look at stats. So we have 12,000 max magicka, 20. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and eat the food real quick because the food's down. Okay, back to stats. So we have 17k max magicka. We're running 28.6k max health and 27.6k max stamina. That is on the back bar. On the front bar we have, on the back bar we have 28.8k max stam. That's basically just going to increase our healing and a little bit of extra damage on our defensive ability as well. Our magicka recovery is 514. Health recovery is going to be 1063. And then our stamina recovery is 772. I personally, again, don't have a problem sustaining this. You might. Especially if you're new to playing DK. Keep in mind, I do have almost 5 years of experience on this class. So, I mean, basically experience is everything when it comes to playing DK, because it is one of the harder classes to master. So let's go ahead and look at buffed up weapon damage. Buffed up weapon damage on our front bar is going to be 4656, and our back bar is 4401. I know a lot of guys are running like 6,000 weapon damage, 7,000 weapon damage. You don't need that much, guys. You don't need that much to be effective. Okay, 4656 is more than enough damage in my opinion. I feel like you can honestly get away with even 4,000 wep damage and still be effective. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back to our stat sheet here. Our penetration on the back or on the front bar is going to be 8217. So with Noxious Breath, we're going to be pushing right at almost 13k penetration. Okay, so that's how we're able to utilize only having 4656 weapon damage, but able to still apply a massive amount of pressure, and that is because we're pumping 13k weapon or physical penetration. Now keep in mind this is a 7 heavy build. If you want to run 5-2 or 5-on-1, you're welcome to do that. I personally, I don't feel like getting undaunted on this guy. I don't really think that you need it. It's really not important enough for me to go run weeks worth of dungeons. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at skills. What I'm running for skills here. So on my front bar, I'm running Executioner in my one slot. I've got Venomous Claw. Of course, I do switch this out sometimes with Dizzy Swing, depending on what I'm fighting. Okay, so if I'm fighting a bunch of Sorks, I'm probably going to run Dizzy Swing because I'm going to want more burst damage in the off balance. If I'm not fighting a bunch of Sorks, I just use Venomous Claw because I feel like the dots are more reliable. Unless we're fighting a Templar, then they become a problem, which at that point you're going to want Dizzy Swing. But so I run Venomous Claw, like I said, in my 2 slot. 3 slot is Noxious Breath. Forward Momentum on my front bar. I do not run Rally. I don't really feel like you need the heal from Rally, especially with running Bless on the back bar. You're able to utilize the Forward Momentum and utilize the Root immunity and the Snare immunity, which I feel is more effective than running the additional heal. The heal will be nice in some circumstances, but again, most of this stuff comes down to circumstances in the fight. Sometimes you just get a shitty fight, and you just, you have to deal with it. It is what it is. You can't change skills. So I do run Camouflage or Camo Hunter on the front bar, as well as Take Flight. On our back bar, I'm running Resolving Vigor, Fragmented Shield, Volatile Armor, Deep Slash. This is also a flex spot, so again, it really depends on your playstyle. Sometimes I want to stun, sometimes I want to reduce the damage reduction. So I trade these two out. I go either from Deep Slash over to running Reverb. So it really depends on what you're running. If you're running Dizzy Swing, obviously Deep Slash is going to be better. If you're not running Dizzy Swing, Reverb might be something to consider, so that way you can get that stun. In most cases, I feel like Dragon Leap is enough to catch somebody with a stun whenever you need to. So we're also running Cauterize on the back bar and Corrosive Armor. Let's go ahead and jump into CP. Alright, so obviously we have nothing in the Apprentice. I don't really feel like we need anything to Blessed. I'll explain why as we move forward. So we're going to run 56 points into Mastered Arms. It's going to give us 20% direct damage increase. I've got 51 points into Thaumaturge for a 19% damage increase to dots. 56 points into Precise Strikes for a 20% increase in critical damage and critical heals. That's crucial. We're doing this mainly for the heals. We want the heals, guys. So the heals are the crucial part. Also, we're running 51 points into Piercing. That's going to give us 4,000 extra penetration. And then 56 points into Mighty, which is going to give us a 12% increase in all stamina damage. That's going to be everything from physical, poison, disease, so on and so forth. Moving on to the Red Tree. 56 points into Ironclad for 20% damage reduction to direct damage abilities. We're also going to be running 50 points in Resistant. It's going to give us 1237 extra crit resist. I feel like that's a little bit more important than Thick-Skinned or physical damage reduction. We're going to run 56. We're going to do a 56 split on both Hardy and Elemental Defender. And I'm running 43 points into Quick Recovery because we're not running anything into Blessed. We are running a dot setup, which means we have to kind of split our points up in the blue tree, which is we need points in both direct damage and dot damage on a dot setup. You just have to do that because your executes are going to be direct damage. Your leap is going to be direct damage. You know, so you have to kind of split those points up. So we want to utilize the additional healing. Not to mention, quick recovery is actually going to be a stronger heal to ourselves than blessed, because healing received is just all around better. It's going to increase the healing that you're receiving from other players, and also the healing that you're doing to yourself. So this, in contrast with also using blessed, is actually really powerful. So if you end up combining the two, you're going to have enormous heals. I don't really feel like that's necessary, so I don't really do it. Let's go ahead and look at the tower and the green tree. I'm running 1 point into Siphoner just so we can get that status effect. 2 points into Bashing Focus. You could run 2 points into Sprinter if you want. Really doesn't matter. Either one works. It's just 2 points. 72 points in a Warlord, though, however, for a 23% reduced break-free cost. It's going to help us sustain that stamina. I'm running 32 points into Tenacity to give me bigger heavy attacks returns, and I'm also running 19 points into Healthy to increase my health recovery, because the food that I'm using is Tri-Stab, but it's also giving me increased health recovery. So I feel like this is more beneficial than running stamina recovery. One, I don't really need the stamina recovery. If you find yourself needing additional stamina recovery, it's probably because you're spamming, and so I would suggest to stop spamming. In the Shadow Tree, we're running 72 points into Tumbling. It's going to reduce our roll dodge by 23%, and 72 points into Shadow Ward, which is going to reduce our block cost by 23%. So that is the build there. So you can run different things in lieu of Blessed. You don't have to run Blessed. You can run, I've ran everything from 7th Legion. I've ran Fury back bar. There's a few other sets that you can run back bar, or if you want to run a 2-piece back bar with, say, like Agility, you could definitely do that. But I personally think that Blessed back bar, it's just the best possible setup that I've been able to find for 1vx in Cyrodiil currently. It's the capability of being able to remove a specific target, a heavy hitter, that you want removed from the fight for 5 seconds. That is massive. It just completely removes them from doing any damage to you. So it's really, really strong when you're 1vxing in those 5v1 scenarios, 6v1 scenarios, 3v1 scenarios. Those scenarios are huge. Even in group play, it's really big. Like let's say if you're low health and a bunch of people jump on you all at one time, being able to just remove one of those people from the fight is really, really, really strong. It's just really strong. And I mean, we don't even need to talk about how strong this set obviously is in a duel. I mean, just being able to remove the person that you're fighting from the fight is obviously overpowered. So obviously this is going to be banned in duels. This is not a dueling setup. I mean, it is technically a dueling setup because it's really OP in duels, but you're not going to be able to utilize it in any competition in duels. But in open world Cyrodiil, it's extremely strong. I haven't tested it in OCP. I don't know how it's going to perform in BGs. If you want to go ahead and test it and run it in BGs, by all means do so. I don't really see how you would have any other problems aside from maybe needing to add a reduced cost glyph or something like that. But anyway, so that's the fridge build. I hope you guys enjoy it. I mean, I've been performing really well with the setup. So I'll put some footage in here for you guys to check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys out there on the battlefield. Thanks for watching.